Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us in the SAINTCON Hallway. Grateful you could carve out some time from chasing horses.
Yeah, I'm a little late because of it, but I spent
Real
like the
fast,
last 45 minutes.
I thought it was a joke, like,
No, it's
horses,
legit.
horses. Like you're like I'm chasing horses, and I'm like, all right, that's a new one. But no, you have
Well,
I went to your Twitter, and you're like, my love is horses. So I'm now assuming you ride, or the fact you're chasing them, you probably own horses. Do tell.
so, yeah, so that's actually a kind of a weird thing that most people don't know. I don't actually have I don't love horses. It's not a passion of mine.
So you're more of
But
the IKEA meatballs type of person.
it's a passion of my wife's, if that makes you
Oh
feel
yeah,
better.
yes. Then it is your passion. Yes.
Yes. So we have five horses. Well, we have four, but we're taking care of our neighbors, so I counted as five because it's basically ours. But yeah, they got out like 45 minutes ago and running down the street, and I had to go chase them down with my wife and my kid and my little Prius, and it was
So
quite an
so
adventure.
you're in a
Had some neighbors
Prius
helping.
with a lasso.
So I'm in a Prius driving down the road trying to find where they are because I don't even know where they are, right? They're lost. I just see that they're not where they're supposed to be. So we're driving around. My wife's freaking out. And we find them at a stop, like a four-way stop with like a bunch of cars all stopped out with their heads looking like, what the heck? So me and her get out with our poor kid in the car in the middle of the road, and we run and we kind of heard them and chased them back home and got some neighbors to help us corral them and get them in. But
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty much chasing horses in a Prius.
So they ran at the speed of 5 horsepower away, right?
Um, well, that's a misnomer. Horses have like 7 horsepower. So like we'll take that
How many escaped?
45 horsepower away.
All five were out.
Yeah, all five are out.
Jeez. How often do they get out? Is this normal or is this?
You know, it depends on how much work you put into taking care of your fence.
I was about to say, do you need a fence guy?
Um, so normally it doesn't happen very often, but it has happened about 3 times in the last 2 months. So it's been kind of frustrating.
Are you 3D printing your fence parts or?
Well, that's actually not a bad idea. Um, no, so what we're doing, we're in the process of replacing sections of the fence. And then when we don't do a good job, the horses let you know.
Yeah, all five of them.
Yeah.
At
So
least, at
when
least they obey our traffic laws and they stopped at stop signs.
oh geez. I think they were more stopping at all the cars honking at them.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you feel if you're driving down the road and there's just like 5 horses running all over the place?
I'd stop and be like, "What the crap?" Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where is the IKEA van? Just kidding. So what do you got
Yeah.
behind you? Is that a rack on the floor? A half rack on the ground?
So you're talking about this?
Further over,
Or
the one with that looks like yeah, right there. That one, not the printer. To the other, yeah, that thing.
that is desk.
Oh, never mind.
It's not exciting.
Oh, I see the other part of it. Okay, I look like a half rack. All right, cool.
Yeah. I mean, there is something cool about that. I've been testing a new thing. You see that box right there?
Yep.
That is it's a test that me and my wife have been trying starting about March, but it's an external GPU enclosure.
So you use it
So
for cryptocurrency cracking or video games or all the above.
so basically video games.
Okay.
So we sold her desktop and she now has an XPS laptop with Thunderbolt
Yep.
and she plugs into that with her laptop and games off of it.
Good
I was
results.
I was actually very surprised with how good of results you can get from an external graphics card.
Interesting. I mean,
Like it was
the thing is bigger than your laptop, but yeah.
it was a test that I was a little afraid of. I didn't think it would work, but in the long run, I think it'll be a big money save.
Right.
Because then I don't have to like you already buy a laptop, right? Why buy all the parts for the a desktop? You just replace your graphics card every year in your laptop, and you're good.
Great. What's the game? What's the go-to?
Oh geez, it's Minecraft.
My dude,
It's it's
kids
hardcore
my kids are
modded Minecraft.
all in Minecraft. We have 3 servers. that we run a family server that people remotely, like cousins, can connect to.
Yeah, I
There's
had
a
the same thing.
family mod server that's just modded. And then we have a Pixelmon, which is like a Pokemon.
Oh, I've played Pixelmon. It's pretty interesting.
They're all into that, man. They have not stopped. Like legitimately, that right now, I bet there's 4 kids downstairs on laptops playing Pixelmon right now.
It is like one of those guilty pleasures. I don't like to tell people about it, but I guess now you know. But modded Minecraft is one of those things that I do to relax all the time. Just we like to play one called Technocraft is the mod pack that we play. It's just super, like you build little.
This is me writing it down. I'm actually writing it down. Okay.
It's like, I don't know. Take Factorio and then turn it into Minecraft, and it's amazing.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, every so often I'll zone out with the kids, and I just like building stuff. So it just reminds me of Legos, But we have an XPS 13 there. One of my kids is using, but we don't have a graphics card at. We must have our graphics turned way down, and yours are turned way up.
So the biggest thing with modern Minecraft is having that huge amount of RAM.
Yeah.
That dedicated WAM.
Yeah. And your CPU needs to be somewhat reasonable, or it takes a dirt nap too. So.
Yeah. So she's got a recent 10th Gen i7 and a garbage XPS, so it works well enough.
Nice.
I was able to spec it comparable to a desktop 4th Gen i7.
That's great.
So
that's great.
Works well enough.
How did you get your hacker handle bashninja?
Oh, geez.
Self-assigned, given, earned, other.
So, believe it or not, that name came long before I even wanted to be a hacker.
So video games, IRC, what are we talking?
It actually started when I started a job. It was my very second job that I would call a real job, not like mowing lawns. But I worked in an IT company. Or in an IT role in a company called Aquaveo, just a small company down in Provo. And my boss was like, okay, we got to pick names for our internal chat program, right? And I was like, okay. And I'm like, I don't have a name. He's like, well, you can't join or work here without a name, which is pretty weird for a corporate environment, right? But
you're like, but
so
I'm Mike. My parents gave me a name.
Yeah. And I was like, fine, I'll pick one. So I sat there and he gave me like 6 days to figure it out. And so I was sitting.
It's like an assignment.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Look, it was hard. Okay. It was like, I was like, how long do I have to do? He's like, fine, you can have like a week or something by the end of the week. And it was like Monday. And it's like, crap. Okay. So I'm sitting there and he
was the consequence if you don't, we get to pick it?
He didn't give me a consequence, but it was a new job, so I was terrified.
Right.
And and I was just like, okay, I have to pick it. I didn't feel like I had a choice. It was like swim or sink.
Right.
But so that week, the first week, my primary task for that job was to set up my desktop environment. And he was super picky, as in he only let us run our machines on Gentoo Linux.
Okay.
Right. And so he's like, the first week you have to set up your thing, and by the end you'll have logged into the thing.
What is this company? What did they sell? Like what?
So they do like ArcGIS
the guy's
stuff.
Gentoo and hacker handle names. Like what is this?
Anyways, so I'm sitting there for the first week and I'm compiling the kernel for the first time and building Gentoo and like doing all these things that I've never heard before. I'm like, I wish that I could just like hire a bash ninja to just do all this stuff for me, like some guy from India, so that I don't have to do this. But of course you don't do that because it's a horrible thing to do. But from there, that's kind of where I was like, fine, I'll just use that as my handle. And I called it.
Did that then
all right.
force you to be really good at Bash? Because now everybody just says you're Bash Ninja. That assumes you're good at Bash, right?
Well, that's also a misnomer. You would think I would be good at Bash, but I would consider myself mediocre. I can do about as much scripting in Bash as everybody else. And I try to use Bash as much as I can instead of Python when possible, but I'm not actually that good at it.
Gotcha. Most people
Which
aren't, but
is,
there are some wizards. I did mention on another call, and I'm not trying to like call it out twice, but freaking Jason Tracy, that guy is a bash wizard. That guy's like pipe, 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 grep, grep, and suddenly you have this command. You're like, did you Google that? And he's like, no, I'm like, you're insane. I just steal other
like,
people's scripts.
like I can write scripts. I'm not bad at it, but I mean, there's a lot of intricacies to Bash, like all the fun Bash expansions and all these things that I always end up having to look up every time I do it.
So this boss gave you these assignments that made this massive impression on you, such as your hacker handle name, everybody calls you, and he probably didn't care. He was just putting some pressure on you just to...
Yeah. He didn't care at all. He was just like, his idea was, I'm going to hire some cheap kid who's still in college, but we're going to do some hard work, so I'm going to pay him squat. So I have to teach him what to do, and this is kind of his process of teaching someone how to do sysadmin work was, build your machine from Gen 2, figure out all the horribleness that is Gen 2.
Learn was he the guy who's like, how do I do this, boss? And he's like, go to the man page. And you're like, how do I do that?
Exactly.
He's like, go to the man page. You're like, no.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what it was. It was either the man page or the Gen 2 wiki.
Oh, gosh. So is that how you got into InfoSec? Is through sysadmin work, or what was the path to InfoSec?
So the path is I'm sitting at this job so I worked there for a year, and I'm sitting there, and it was probably one of the best jobs I've had in my entire life. I loved it. My boss was awesome, as you can tell from the first week. He was super helpful, and I learned more there than I'd learned my entire life. And I was sitting at work one day thinking, am I going to do IT for the rest of my life, or am I going to do something else? And I said, IT is not bad, but what is that dream I always had when I was a kid? And I said, I just want to be a hacker. It was like, okay, well, how do I do that? And I had no idea.
Why did you want to be a hacker? Was there is this a movies?
Because of the coolness factor.
Is it movies? How did you know anybody who was doing it?
I knew zero.
So it's movies. Well, it's all media.
It's 100% media.
Hollywood for the win.
It's like you see that dude sitting on the keyboard getting into stuff he's not supposed to. I want to do that.
Right.
Oh, and even in sysadmin, you learn about all the vulnerabilities they're popping in that you have to patch. And I wish I knew how to do that kind of stuff. And
you're like, another critical patch again? Why?
Yeah, why? And how are they finding these? And what's this all about? So from there, I actually I just Googled stuff in Utah, and I couldn't find anything. At that time I was going to BYU University, and they had a club there called IT Sec, or IT Security. And I started attending that, but I didn't find very much useful there. It was just a lot of discussions from vendors, which as someone who knows nothing is not appealing at all. Because everything they teach you about, you have to pay money for, or get a job and already have experience. But what I ended up doing was I ended up joining the DC801 IRC channel.
Nice.
And from there, one of the guys in the community who doesn't actually go to DC801 very often, but he went there to the IRC looking for an employee, asked for the very first security job. And so I went to him and said, hey, I don't know very much, but I really want to learn. Here's some personal projects I worked on, and talked a lot about the different things that I found interesting in info security as I spent like 4 or 5 months learning about it and doing personal projects, and I got my very first job. And honestly, I think the first job is the absolute hardest one to get in InfoSec. Yeah. It's the one that just terrifies people, and it's a big struggle. Like I watch a lot of people struggle getting that very first job, and I just felt like knowing people in the community and talking to people was a huge help to getting that one, because honestly, someone has to take a chance on you to do it. And that's kind of what happened there. It helped that I was pretty good at Linux, like Gen 2. And
you're like, I could build my own daggone kernel. I did it when I was a teenager.
I did it. Yeah. But another thing that I think helped a lot was coming up with personal projects. Like if you say, hey, yeah, I have never done Infosec, but I've been doing this thing called Over the Wire, or like I've been playing the root boxes, or I went and played the SAINTCON CTF or something like that. Like those kinds of things, at least to employees that know what they're talking about,
Right.
really seem to stand out a lot.
What's the first SAINTCON you went to?
Ooh, the very first one I went to was the first SAINTCON that they did, the ESP 8266. That was the one with the
I don't know.
little. That was the one with the little LED. It was like the 8-character LED. It was Narwhal year.
Oh man, yeah, it's all kind of
You
a
remember
blur.
that?
I mean, I like badges, but not to the extent that the hardware people like badges. I'm sure I have that badge you're talking about, but I don't know, man. Was this at Weber? Was this in Provo? Where's this?
This was down in Provo.
Okay, so
I
it's
I
like the
think it was
last.
2016.
Okay,
Let me look it up. Yeah,
I
I remember SAINTCON by the badges.
I
That's
know
kind of the
I
problem.
should. Somebody's gonna give me crap for that later, but a lot of years, like sometimes I don't build the badge until after the con because
Oh,
I'm
geez.
just mentally kind of wrecked at like doing work sometimes. Now it's got a lot better, but there was some bad years of AV that like I didn't have any mental energy after setup to do anything, and I'm just vegging out, which started Hallway Con for me at least. I mean, I know it's been going on long before me and will go on long after me, but
Man, AV is a beast.
it
There's no doubt about that.
when it doesn't work, it sucks. It's literally the
And,
worst.
and people are so happy when it doesn't work either, right?
No, even people who are nice are flustered, frustrated because they're just there to present, right? Like, yeah. Anyway,
Right.
not here to talk about AV. That's a mess. But
Well, I don't know. There's some stuff about AV I find, like, I really like the fact that at least for the last few years we've been saving the raw versions of the AV conference talks.
thanks to you because we just store them to disk, and then the moment we run out of disk, we just overwrite them. Like we've been always
Ugh,
storing the raw, but we just overwrite it when we run out of disk because everything we have at
ugh,
SaintCon was hustled, right? We didn't have.
right.
I remember the one year Troy finally gave us budget to buy like new laptops, and I was like amazing. And we're talking $500 laptops too, nothing crazy. But like before that, everything else was like U of U bid sell and getting mixers out of bid sell and things out of cheap knockoff stuff on Amazon and like that. All that gear was just hustled, just straight up hustled. Like I'm surprised
Well,
for the production we put out. I'm surprised there was any raw for you to have because
I
we didn't put
I
any
love
attention
it.
into it. So I'm glad somebody's
I
keeping it.
love it. I think that keeping the raw files is kind of one of those archivist itches that I have, that it's like I
And
can't get it, let it disappear,
you've already
or
bailed us out. Like legitimately, just barely. Neil Grifter was looking for his talk from like 3 years ago. It was the Trevor one, but there was the whole like end of his talk, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It didn't make it to YouTube. I couldn't see it anywhere. And Rim was like, I think Bash has it. So we pinged you, and you're like, yeah, I have it. And I'm like, I'm like, I'm glad somebody did. And we ended up getting it. I carved it up, and I put it on YouTube. For Neil, like, yeah, we do have it thanks to Bash. If it wasn't for you, it's maybe on the laptop in the storage unit, but maybe it's already been overwritten. I don't know.
that's one of those fears, is that we'll just lose the wonderful content that we have, and it's just it. I mean, okay, the whole talk about the cockroach is not such a horrible thing to lose, but you get the idea.
But his actually end of his talk was a pretty good talk, but we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
save that anywhere. So
No, we
anyway,
saved the cockroach bit.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Anyway, so you've already built this out. So I guess the question is, I do have one more SaintCon question real quick. What's your favorite memory from SaintCon?
Oh, those are so good. There's so many of them. I will say first off, it's definitely not the talks. Like, for all this love that I just said about saving the talks, I don't go to SaintCon at all for any of the talks. I like to watch all of those after the fact,
Right.
which is kind of bad, because if everyone did that, all the rooms would be empty.
No, there's different demands, right? And a lot of it depends on your employer. There's a lot of people
But
who their job says you went to SAINTCON, you went to DEF CON, now write a report about what you learned and teach it to the team. Well, those Budros, those people, they got to go to the talks, you know, because they got to do it. But like, I'm grateful I'm in a career that's, or at least in a role that's not required, and I can go to the ones I want to go to, and I can go to the hallways. But yeah, what's the favorite memory, Mike?
So my very favorite memory was SAINTCON 2017, actually. And it was one of the few years that I really spent the entire conference smashing through the CTF.
Nice. So the Jeopardy board? Hackers Challenge?
Yeah, the Jeopardy board. The one that Zevlag puts on. Yeah. Because so that year, I think it was 2017. It might have been 2016. But that year, I really put my heart into the CTF, and I lost.
I was going to say, where did you place?
I think I placed either third or fourth, somewhere around there.
Was it Scotty who won? Because that dude always wins.
No, it was Plum.
Okay. Yeah, that guy too. He's a smart dude too.
It was very much Plum, and he won because he's a lot smarter than I am, and I look up to him in a lot of ways. But I just remember going home from that SAINTCON just so like super excited and pumped and happy that I did as well as I could for my very second SAINTCON year, right? Like I'd never gone, and it was either, like I said, it was either third or fourth place, and I worked my butt off, and I felt so proud of the accomplishment that I was able to make. Not that other people could see, but that I felt myself, right, that I could do as well as I did against other security professionals. Now, if I were to play again, I don't know how well I do. It seems to be getting harder and harder every year. But that memory was very important to me, because I came back and I felt like, honestly, I felt accomplished, and I felt like
I do know what I'm doing. I am good at my job.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like I'm not just that imposter that everyone seems to feel. I'm not good. I'm not perfect. There's a lot of people better than me, but I can.
You could quantify it externally. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do something, and that was something that had been missing a lot in the first 2 years of my career, and it was just a huge, meaningful experience. Now, that's not a super interesting experience. I have lots of those too.
That's great. I mean,
but it was
you got beat by a professor, so like it's fine. I mean, one day you'll be Professor Mike, so it'll be all right.
Oh, I hope not. My dad's a school teacher, and I don't ever want to do that.
Mr. Mike.
Yeah, Mr. Weaver. No thanks.
So 801 Labs, you're putting in a lot of the effort on it now. I mean, legitimately, all the communication I'm seeing, 90% of it has your name coming off of it. Which, for anybody else who's, I mean, when I lived down in Salt Lake, it was similar. You know, there's definitely a lot of other people, but if you want to get involved, there's plenty of things you can help and do, and if you want to help drive stuff, you can. But you seem to have a lot of those reins right now. Good experience, bad experience, frustrating, positive, enlightening, all the above?
It's kind of a mixed bag. 801 Labs itself is wonderful. Being in charge of stuff, not so much.
Wrangling cats and hurting people with no money is challenging. Weird.
Yeah, like we've done some really cool stuff, and like and some of it's only been because of SAINTCON. Like, for example, we just hit nonprofit back in April. We hit 501c3.
Super exciting. Yes.
I know that so I've been coming to 801 Labs since 2017. After that second after that second SAINTCON. And from my records and what I can find, people have been trying to do nonprofit since 2012.
We brought it up. I don't know about before, but the moment I was there, it came up. But it was always like lawyers and money, you know.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly what it is. It's really easy to build a brand new nonprofit. It's really hard to take an old organization, an old court, and turn it into a nonprofit. So we did a fundraiser actually in 2018 at SAINTCON, fundraising for that nonprofit, and we used that money to buy lawyers, and it finally paid off. So that's nice. Super cool.
Right.
I'm very excited about that, mostly because we can now we get to publish how much money we spend. We get to have people write off on their taxes.
Right.
You know, I mean, the whole organization has always been a nonprofit. It's just
Right.
nobody's bothered to do the paperwork because it's such a pain.
Yeah, I mean, it never made money.
But
It never made money and was never set up to make money. So,
right, and it's still not making
right.
money. We still lose money. Like, oh my gosh, it's insane. We spend about $2,500 a month. Even now during the pandemic, where it's completely closed, we're spending that much money on keeping a space that's locked up the whole time.
It's insane.
So, I mean, I love 801 Labs mostly because I like the people, and I feel like I have to, like, I feel like even me in my career, I came, like, my very first tech job came from that DC801 Discord IRC channel, right? And I feel like the community has given me a lot, and I want to give back. And I feel that actually every time I go, I get even more back than I've ever put in. Because it's so, I mean, imagine SAINTCON at a smaller scale, or HallwayCon at a smaller scale every single week.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't have to preach to me. I'm still a member, and I don't even live near it.
It's just lovely and wonderful. I mean, so there are some negatives to it. Like, you get to deal with some people, and, you know, whenever you have all people coming together, there's always going to be someone who butts heads, or, I mean, it is DC801 who's the primary group of people that are attending. So a lot of people don't like the whole DEF CON culture that comes into that. So we get to figure that whole dynamic out. But I think that 801 Labs has been nothing but a benefit to me, and I think that it gives a huge benefit to the community. What do you think? Does it help the community a lot?
It helped me. I legitimately finished my master's because of it. I found a mentor and somebody who helped walk me through my master's at 801 Labs. So, yes, it was a huge benefit to me. I mean, I used to go there almost every day during my master's. I was there every day of the week. So, and as I was saying, I'm still a member. I still support it, and I live an hour and a half away. So I hardly go, but I still put money in the pot. So I think you're asking the wrong person. I'm clearly all in, and I think it's a great thing. Yes.
We've been trying to come up with new ideas for ways to improve, and we always have a lot of people have a lot of ideas. If we could have anything right now it was up to me, I would say people would want to do stuff. Like, if you have an idea, you have something you want to do, you just talk to me or anyone else at 801 Labs, and we can make it happen.
It's a little easier when, you know, it's open and stuff. There's some challenges, at least at the moment.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Right now, it's been super interesting with the pandemic. Like, we've been trying to move as much as we can onto digital sources, and that's been a struggle.
Yeah.
We have things going every Tuesday and Thursday on our Discord. We have
how do they find that if they want it? Where do they go to get it?
So the way you get it is you can go to the website. You can go to 801labs.org, and in the top right there's a button that says hit join Slack.
Perfect. Do that.
Okay.
And then there's some Discord link in there, right?
Yeah, and you can ask about it. I'm not going to give you the Discord link because I want you to come talk to us, because the people are kind of what makes the hackerspace awesome.
Right.
So, like, jump in Slack and say, hey, I'm new. I want to join the Discord meetups. Like, let me know, and let's do this.
Cool.
And someone will definitely help you out. Like,
so how many hours a week do you put into not work-related things? So 801 Labs, other community stuff? Do you want to know? Maybe I shouldn't ask that.
I don't want to know.
Okay, moving on.
Think about
Next
this.
question.
Let me think. This is actually, it's a good question. I would say I spend at least 4 hours a day.
That's legit,
on this
man.
stuff.
That's legit.
Because, I mean, my kid's still very small, and she goes to bed at 9. And between 9 and when I wake up, or go to sleep, is when I play with my computer stuff. Last week, I was taking apart a stupid robot just to try and see if I could get root on a vacuum robot.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to hack a robot today. I'm like, cool.
Yeah. Like, that took me, like, a couple hours of work.
Spoiler
and just that
alert.
kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Did you get root?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
I got to the U-boot, and I was able to play with the U-boot. But I was actually working off the work of somebody else. And this specific model has some additional security protections that make it so that the original root method doesn't work anymore.
Gotcha.
I can get it to work, but it's super risky, as in just have to override a certain section of the NAND. And if I get it wrong, I brick the device, and I'm not willing to spend $500 just to test it.
I assumed it was already like a broken one or something, but yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
very.
so I was able to dump the actual storage data using the U-boot and look through it. And I think I know where to change what I need to do. But if there's any like checksum stuff or other things that could cause problems, I could break it pretty quick. So
How many hours did you play Drug Wars growing up?
I have only played that when I was in high school in class, in math class, because I had Drug Wars on a TI-86 calculator. And I played it when I was bored and my teacher was teaching math.
Nice. I think
So
I had
probably,
it on a Palm Trio or something. I had it on. I mean, I guess it's good. It helped you with math, I assume.
so knowing a high schooler, I probably played a lot of hours of that game.
Right.
um,
What's
yeah.
what's your favorite badge from all Infosec cons ever?
Favorite badge, all InfoSec cons ever. I would have to say last year's DEF CON badge.
The round one?
Yep, the round one.
Forced you to. It's like the anti-corona badge. Like.
So the reason I love that badge now, so there's two parts to it. What I love and which badge is the coolest. So I love that badge because I spent last year's DEF CON. I spent like 2 days nonstop with Professor Plum. Him and I just sat down and we were going to do the DEF CON badge challenge. And we sat down and we did it. And we were pretty much the first ones to crack the badge challenge, even though we found out there wasn't actually a challenge. And we were able to emulate all the different types of badges and go around and unlock everybody's badges to the full ones. And I thought that was a blast.
Nice.
So it's my favorite because honestly, because of the memories, not because the badges are really that cool.
Yeah.
But the memories of sitting down with Plum and hacking through the badge and playing it, I thought that was so much fun.
Working on your professorship.
Yeah. Like like I said before, I really looked up to him and I found that to be a very, very enlightening and exciting experience. The badges I like because of that aspect, because you get to sit through and hack them and break them and learn a lot. If we're gonna say normal badges, I'm going to take away all the DC8, all the ones that I've worked on because they don't count.
They count? That counts?
I'm going to have to say the SAINTCON badge that was the Raspberry Pi.
That was cool. Give a full Pi W. That was cool.
Yeah. It was a full Pi W. Got an SNES emulator running on it, playing Super Mario on a SAINTCON badge.
That was cool.
It was just sick.
That was cool.
That was pretty cool.
3 years ago, you said Infosec is a sexy dream job that every computer kid wanted to do while they're in high school. Infosec is the astronaut of computers. Still a true statement today?
100%.
Awesome.
No doubt about it. That's why I decided to get into Infosec, was because I thought it was super sweet and super sexy, and I was an astronaut.
All right. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but we know horses, we know 3D printing. We've learned, definitely hardware, hacking robots, and trying to dump your firmware off of your iRobot or your whatever your vacuum is, whatever brand name it is. What do we not know about Bash?
What do you not know about Bash? I'm really bad at keeping my desk clean.
That's just...
like, really, do you see how pretty this is?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you don't see the rest of my desk. You just see this part.
Neither do you.
But there's a whole other part over here. But
I am a huge data hoarder. Like, it's really bad.
So all the hard drives, all the storage.
I'll give you an example.
So if the FBI came knocking and needed your equipment for some reason, they have a lot of cloning to do, is what you're saying.
I would say they have a whole lot. So yes, 3 weeks ago, I bought over almost 200 terabytes of hard drives. like this is a problem, and I'm just gonna keep feeding it because I don't care.
Your monthly budget has a line items for storage.
Yes, and data usage. Like in the month of April, I used almost 40 terabytes of data on Comcast.
I thought I was bad. I'm averaging like 3, but 40.
Yeah.
Break.
I don't know how they haven't kicked me off yet, but
I have to pay a fee. I got to give them extra money every month for unlimited data.
Yeah, me too. But like, still, I'm afraid that they're going to be like, "This is excessive."
You are 10x me, and I thought I was bad.
So, like right now, I have like 4 hard drives within reach that I'm running bad blocks on to get ready to stick it to a new machine.
Nice. All right. So if somebody wants to come talk to you, but they're a little nervous to talk to you because maybe they don't know you, maybe they're brand new, maybe it's SAINTCON next year and there's 30% new people, what can they say to you? Is it just the things we've been talking about, storage, data collection? How can they come and talk to you about a topic that they're interested in that maybe they feel more safe to talk to you about?
So I really like teaching people. Like, I found that to be one of those things that I really enjoy. That's why last year I ran that NFC village. And like,
so what you're saying is the best in to talk to you at SAINTCON or anywhere else you see him is, can you explain or show me X?
Or come help me with this. Okay. Or like, I love it because if I know how to do it, I really like walking people through stuff, teaching people things that I know. Awesome. Any of that topics that I really enjoy is I like data hoarding. I like RFID stuff. In fact, this might be something else people don't know. I have 4 implants in my body right now.
And he can't tell you about 2 of them.
Oh, I'll tell you all about them if you want. With little NFC chips that you put in your hands. I like talking about hardware stuff, right. Particularly badges and badge hacking. I find that quite entertaining. I'm not super good at hacking things yet, but I really want to be. And I love CTFs more than anything. In fact, this might be another thing people don't know. For the last 3 years, I've been helping run the Neverland CTF, both at DEF CON and the online event that they do every year for the high school kids.
Really fast, for those who don't know what it is, can you explain that in like less than 30 seconds?
Yeah, we'll give you Neverland CTF is a CTF built for middle school students and lower. It's open to anyone, but it's pretty much like that intro level CTF.
Perfect. Like, and they can find out information how to do it by just Googling Neverland CTF?
Yep. Perfect. It's never like
or
NEVER
duck going Neverland CTF.
Oh man, okay. You want to talk about that for a minute?
We kind of soon we're done recording. We should, but I think we're gonna go really long. So okay. I do want to talk about that. And Mozilla laying off 250 security people is probably worth the chat too.
Oh geez, yes.
Any book you're trying to sell? Anything you want to let people know about?
Right now we're still doing badge sales for the DEF CON badge for the hackerspace.
I don't know when this will officially get posted out because I'm not over that part. Nemus has just went out today, and we did make sure that was in there on the badge.
Okay, cool.
So
other than that, come check out the hackerspace. Hopefully we can do some cool stuff when the pandemic is done.
I do second that.
That's honestly the best place to go.
I do second that. Come check it out. There is memberships, but absolutely welcoming on the open nights when it's open. People let you in. You can chat. It doesn't cost any money. Come get a feel for it. If you want to donate some carpet, I'm sure they'll take it.
Oh, jeez. So ugly. The carpet is so ugly.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in person.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Bye.